Hi, I'm happy to be here today. My name is Dan Reynolds. I'm a partner in Cleary Gottlieb's New York office. I'm the global chair of our real estate group, and my practice is a broad-based practice involving lending and borrowing and investments in real property across the United States. And I represent clients both based in the United States and internationally. It's a great practice. I'm happy to be here today. What I've always really liked about this conference in particular, the Mezzanine Financing and High Yield Conference, is the focus that it has. There are lots of great conferences in our industry, lots of great times where we can get together and talk to business folks and practitioners and hear really good insights. The focus of this conference on mezzanine financing, high yield is really, really good. And it means that this is a particular segment of our industry that is crucial to getting deals done, getting our projects done. But frankly, in many other conferences, doesn't get the attention that it deserves. And it has its own particular issues. It has its own particular trends and macroeconomic effects. And it's really great to bring people together who are focused on this area and hear what's going on in the industry at this time. Every year, you come back with new insights and hear great new information from the folks who are presenting and attending. As the industry has evolved over the last, I'd say, 10 years, and with the growth of private credit, what we're seeing is that the capital stack is evolving in new and dynamic ways. And used to be that you'd have senior loan, mezzanine loan, and then equity. Now there's a lot of other players who are coming into the capital stack in different ways. And it might be pref equity, but it also could be back leverage, which sometimes isn't even visible to, say, a borrower or to some of the other lenders, but becomes a dynamic that is really, really important in the transaction. And seeing how different lenders and borrowers are thinking about that kind of structuring and how it's affecting transactions is important, both in terms of the issues that come up and also the execution of the transactions, because you might have more players involved and really have to bring more parties to the finish line in an efficient way. And so it's a dynamic that I think is increasing across the industry and deserves a little bit of focus at this conference. I would say it is still in a place of cautious optimism. I think at the beginning of the year, you might not have put cautious before optimism. It was just a full-on, great excitement about the year. I think macroeconomic trends have maybe tempered a little bit of that optimism, but there's still a lot of new deals being done and getting launched. And it's really across the industry, whether it's refinancings, construction loans, new projects. You got a lot going on. And I also think that there's been a lot of movement in the industry towards finally resolving some of the issues on properties that have been stuck in workouts for a number of years since COVID, and where basis is finally being reset. Properties are finally being sold. Maybe the property is being repositioned or just being sold at a new basis. And with that finally happening and unlocking itself, I think there's even more of a interest in doing new transactions. And so I think everybody's quite busy and hoping that continues through the rest of the year. Yeah, I think the biggest issue everybody has is that there are deals being done, there are deals being shopped. there's still a distinction between sort of the good, really premium deals and deals that have a decent amount of hair on them. And I think for those premium deals, especially, there's a lot of money chasing those deals. And you just look at the list of lenders, and it's not the banks anymore, or just the banks and insurance companies and the traditional lenders, but the private credit funds have really expanded. And you look at those lists and you see the number of parties that can be chasing deals, and you realize that borrowers who have a good deal to offer can really be in the driver's seat. And so that creates challenges to yields, and that means that frankly, going back to the session that I'm chairing, that means that you got to be really creative in your structuring in order to be able to hit your yield targets and deploy the money that you need. And so I think all of that is creating more pressure, but again, a lot of opportunity in the industry. Yeah, the program itself is great. Obviously, I'm excited about my own session. I think people will learn a lot from that. And but in attending those sessions and hearing what the presenters have to say is super important. But the conference itself draws a broad range of practitioners. It's right in the heart of New York City, so you get a lot of folks who from money center companies who can who just drop by, and it's a great way to meet people. So I'd say come early, stay late, make the most of the networking events. And frankly, look for opportunities to get yourself involved. I started by attending. I found opportunities to participate in panels, and the conference really thrives on the quality of its panels and the people who are presenting. So looking for opportunities where you can participate in the future, I think, is also an exciting part of being at this conference.